Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you. So I have another non-sports video topic that I'd like to touch in on. Uh, Malik Yoba has made it clear that he is in great support of the trans community. In more or less words, he's expressed his openness about being attracted to trans individuals, and my point of coming here today to mention all of this is to say, as a person from the outside of the community, outside of the LGBT community, forgive me, last time in my last video I said LBGT community. I understand that to be wrong, so I'm gonna make a conscious effort to say it correctly. LGBT community. I'm outside of that. I identify as a heterosexual male, and I've been very comfortable with that for a long time. And I think I'm one of those rare individuals, and I find myself to be rare because I haven't been around people who think this way. One of the rare individuals who truly do want to understand, because I see parallels to the black community's struggle and experience to the LGBT community's struggle and experience. There are parallels, and I don't want to find myself on the wrong side of history as it pertains to their community when I'm sitting here trying to express a certain level of respect and care for my own community. So I think, and I believe that it's very important that we show solidarity, and I say this a lot, solidarity for other people's movements and things that don't pertain to yourself, and try to get an understanding. And if you have some disagreements or you can't seem to see eye to eye with a certain person's perspective, the only way you're going to gain that perspective is by asking questions and having conversations. And I'm about that. I'm about that because I have love for a movement that doesn't seem to be getting love from areas where it otherwise would, if folks would just kind of come to the conclusion that I'm trying to come to in regards to this conversation. In the spirit of full disclosure, I was raised in a household where my mother, she loved everyone, but she was from the old school in terms of how the black community viewed things. And, you know, she was from the old school as it pertained to how religious beliefs viewed things. And me and my mother had several conversations about sexuality. And, you know, she knew who I was and what I was about. She never really had to ask questions about her own son, but at the same time, it didn't stop at being just comfortable in my own skin. I want to understand other people. I want to help align my mind with things that don't make me feel like a hypocrite. You know what I mean? As it pertains to defending my own community, but then not applying those same beliefs to someone else's community or someone else's circumstances. You know, if I want something for myself, it can't just be good enough for me to get it. I want to make sure that everybody, you know, is getting the same thing. I think that's fairness, and that's what we should be striving for. So in this situation, as regards to Malik Yoba, just to bring it all back around, he's been getting a lot of backlash. It might be blacklash if you think about the community kind of kicking his butt for his declarations and his opinions. But I think the spirit of what he's trying to do is something that I can get with, and that's showing respect, showing appreciation, and just showing love to people who are sent away, outcasted in this society of ours. Okay? Because I look at the real enemy, the real enemy, the spirit of our country that needs to be eliminated is the spirit that keeps people down. It's the same thing that kept my ancestors in shackles. It's the same thing that's keeping people from wanting to communicate with one another. It's the same thing that's keeping people from realizing clear and in plain sight that this is land that was taken, that we're standing on, that we're thriving on, was land that was taken, and that the people who have had that land taken from them have not been given the justice that they deserve for the crimes that were committed against them. We live in hypocrisy every day, and I think the best way for me not to express my own hypocrisy is to have conversations such as these on social media, where I just say whatever's on my mind and try to you know, put out the love that I hope to receive in my community. So, you know, solidarity for anybody in the LGBT community, from my family to yours, is solidarity. And I brought my mother up to say she didn't really align herself with a whole lot of support for that community. I mean, she loved people, and she had people in her circle, co-workers and things like that that may have identified in the community. But as it pertained to herself, she was standoffish. She believed everybody should have their rights. She believed in certain simple things that we all should receive across the board, just in terms of, like, if you're in love with somebody and you go to the hospital, they tell you can't spend time with that person because you're not related to them or whatever. I think everybody should have even keel, privileges and rights. And my mother believed in that as well. She instilled that in me. But we didn't see eye to eye on certain things, and we had conversations about those. I think I'm a bit more on the let live and let die or whatever mentality than my mother was. She was along the lines of, I love these people, but what they're doing is against God and it's wrong. And when you talk about what's against God and what's not, we have to go through doctrines, we have to go through what we've learned, we go through what we feel, and then we assess. And my mom and I didn't see that the same way as it pertains to what God really wants from the people that he creates. My point of view from that was, if God didn't want people to be who they are, they wouldn't be that way. We're all who we need to be in the time that we need to be, so that the bigger, greater plan can formulate. Maybe you subscribe to that, maybe you don't, but that's what I believe. I think that we're all exactly who we need to be to fit into where we need to fit in, or not fit in, and maybe that's by design as well. But the point is, people are being outcasted for reasons that don't align with who they are on the inside, and their hearts and their minds. And I think that's why we have so much of an exaggerated perspective in this era that we're in, where people are trying to declare themselves as this or identify as that and demand a certain level of treatment and respect that comes with it. It's because of the pressure of just not allowing people to ultimately be themselves, making it so that so many different norms of society put it in positions to that people feel like they have to hide rather than seek support, or hide rather than be themselves, or exaggerate in response to the culture that forces people to hide, exaggerate their identity, or exaggerate their demands, or be extremist about their demands because of it. So I just want to kind of be a solution, starting with the man in the mirror in this regard, and just say, yo, just because I'm not with y'all in regards to your practices, or maybe I don't understand your culture, or maybe I don't get the vibes and the feelings from your culture that you do, does not mean that I can't say, yo, you deserve to live, you deserve to be happy, you deserve to be safe, you deserve to have free trade, buying power in this world, you deserve to be able to raise a family, you deserve to have, all the things, representation, all the things that I believe should be given to humans, just as a right of being alive and being on this planet today, should be given to people who are in outcasted communities, or communities that aren't accepted by the masses. And so I view the LGBT community as that, and I'm hoping that they can get the support that they need from a humanitarian standpoint first, and then everything else can also fall in line for them as well. So yeah, I'm aligned, man. I got a lot of support from in my heart for y'all, and there's a lot of commitment to myself in regards to who I am, to know that I can stand in a room, as I've said in the past, with people who are not like myself and still be myself, because that's all I'll ever be. But in being myself, I think I can be a solution. Even in being just a black dude, bald-headed black dude from wherever I'm from, I can also say, yo, I have a spectrum and an understanding that this world is bigger than me, and that there are things that I can learn that'll help me understand people better, and I have yet to learn those things, to be honest about that. And I hope that you'll follow my lead in that regard, and just kind of give people their own perspective, and give people their own due in regards to what you don't know about their communities. Let them have their day, let them have their parade, let them have their fight, and give them what they're asking for if you can give it to them. You know what I mean? If you can give them support, show it, because you're going to want support from someone someday, and maybe they're the ones that's going to give it to you. Maybe they're the community that'll help our community push along if we give them a little support in areas that don't pertain to us. And I really do believe in that kind of stuff, folks. I really do. That's why I talk about stuff that don't have nothing to do with me. That's why I try to show concern for things that don't align with my world. Because at the end of the day, we're on the same planet and we're going to need one another. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually we're going to need one another. And I think, call me naive, but I believe if you help empower others and you show them goodwill and good faith, if you need to cross the bridge that they're in control of, you're not going to have a problem crossing it. But if you show resistance and you build up a bunch of resentment and you continue to scoff at their progress, you continue to look at them and say, yeah, it's 2019, you're not quite where you need to be, we're in a position of strength, so stay in your place. When they do get what they need to become as powerful as they want to become, they're going to remember all that. And I'm of the mindset that that's something that can be prevented. That angst, that position of tug of war type of thing that comes with people coming into their own and then looking back at people who wronged them and saying, yo, now we got a chance to get some revenge. That's something that can be prevented just from little drops in the bucket like this one saying, yo, I stand with y'all and I hope that you get what's best for you. So yeah, man, stop kicking and beating each other up for differences, and stop kicking each other around for differences. Stop harassing people because you don't agree with what they do. And look, there are going to be things and aspects that are going to separate us. And I can be very honest about this. And it doesn't mean that I don't support, but the practices that a person may have in their community may not be something that I can stand. Let's just keep it all the way real. I may not want to see you do what it is that you do, but that does not mean that I have to try to prevent you from doing it or try to shine a light on what you're doing and say, yo, that's immoral, that's wrong, because it doesn't go with what I think is best for me. And now that doesn't pertain to breaking laws or taking advantage of people or assaulting in any way, shape, or form. I'm just talking about the practices that pertains to the LGBT community. If someone's holding hands, they're kissing, or having their moments of intimacy, maybe as a straight man, that's something that I can do without seeing. You understand what I'm saying? I want to erase the notion that means that I can't stand with you and say, yo, they should receive the support that they deserve, or that they should not be treated poorly, or that they should not be killed, or any extremes. You know what I mean? Just because I don't want to see y'all get down does not mean that I can't support your movement and support your love. So that's something that I feel in my heart, and I think that's a place I'd like to see us get to as we mature as people, especially in the black community. It's almost like we want to show support if we straight and comfortable, but a lot of us are really, really, really concerned about either we're going to get dragged into seeing things that we don't want to be a part of, you know what I mean, if we have that type of mentality, or aligned with that, like Malik Yoba is experiencing right now. Even though he came and said what he said, I think even if he didn't word it the way that he did, people would still say, oh, he's coming out to support the trans people, so we ain't messing with him like that. He's gay and that's that. He's with them. He can't be a straight man and say, yo, I support them. And that's what I'm trying to erase. I'm a straight man. I support them. I don't want to see them kissing and stuff, because that's like mustard on my sandwich. I don't like mustard, so I don't, you know what I mean? It doesn't mean I want all the mustard snatched off the market and nobody can ever have mustard. I don't want it on my sandwich. You feel me? So I think that's one of the mindsets that I think is an immature state that we have as a society, to where it's almost like we're so afraid of being aligned with something that we can't stand in solidarity with something. No, just let them be them. I can be honest. It's the same thing I feel about the jokes. And watching Dave Chappelle, I can tie this in. Dave Chappelle gets on TV, says his jokes, they're really, really nasty, they're really, really raunchy, and he's responding to the cancel culture and all that. He feels like to be on edge, you have to say things to offend, and it worked, and it was funny. I thought it was brilliant. I loved it. But I think that what he did was a thing, so to speak, because of the fact that we're in a space where nobody wants to believe that a joke can be told, or that I don't want to see some stuff to just align it, while still feeling like there's a balance to it and saying, yo, I want to see those people happy though. I want to see them in a position where they're not being taken advantage of by the cops. I want to see them in a position where they can go on and make millions and millions of dollars without anybody resisting their movement or what have you. You know what I mean? There's a balance there. And I think that's the lines are completely blurred based on so many different things. Cancel culture, in the closet culture, just so many different fears that society has with just standing in solidarity, being comfortable with you in your own skin and saying, yo, let them have their rights and their fairness. So that's what I wanted to just kind of align in myself and say, yo, I'm not like that. I'm not like that. Straight, comfortable with it, happy with it. Black, comfortable with it, happy with it. But I could say what's up to people over there without it being a problem. I can lend them support. I could take a picture with them. You know what I mean? I'd love to get to a place in society where a straight man could take a picture with a trans man and not be aligned to say, yo, he's messing with that dude. Or a woman could take a picture with a man and say, yo, she's dating that dude. Like it's immature. There are too many different things going on in this world, too many different variables and possibilities that are left and right of us for us to just say, okay, that is that, so therefore. Let's just put something else into this. Let's just align this with something else. For those who say that video games do not prompt people to kill one another. They may not prompt you to kill nobody, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't affect someone else's mind in a different way. We can't just have a blanketed statement saying, okay, video games do not cause people to kill one another. No, video games may have caused that man to do that thing that he did. So to say that video games shouldn't have any blame in the culture that we have with all the things that are taking place with gun violence and things like that, I think that's a fallacy. And I think that many people want to dismiss it in that same vein as people are just so dismissive of one another based on different scenarios that they believe are taking place because they're not allowed in their minds to escape that particular cage that they are in. No. Video games may cause someone to do something. Maybe that woman is aligned with that man because they're just friends. Maybe that dude can't stand next to that trans man and take a picture without it being some undercover relationship going on between the two of them. Let's open our minds is the basis of what I'm trying to say. Can we open our minds a little bit and just understand that the variables and possibilities of different things are not as white and black as they seem? There's gray areas and a lot of different things. So let's give a little credit to that, credence to that. Is there anything else I want to say in this video? Malik Yoba, you're doing the right thing for yourself, man. You came out, you spoke your truth, and you're supporting people who need support. Who will need support? I think when it comes down to it, in our community, there was a time, maybe not in my lifetime, but there was a time where people looked at us, black people would say, yo, yeah, I may not like seeing them in chains, but the societal norms make it so that they're in chains, so it's the right thing for us because it's in law, president's with it. So, yeah, it may not be the right thing for us to have a slave. I'm not going to own a slave, but, I'm not going to go out and go fight to try to see if that slave can be freed. I'm not going to go off and risk my life to see that they're all freed. You know what I mean? Like, that was the societal norms of the time. They would see you in chains, feel bad, go home, and do nothing. We are doing that now to other people. That's what I'm trying to say. That scenario is now being played out in different ways. Obviously not as extreme, but in different ways. We're doing the same thing that was done to us to others. Mimicking the oppressor. One of the very things that I talk about all the time. We got to stop that. So, yeah, man, if you align it with what I'm saying, man, open your mind, be comfortable in your own skin, know who you are, and then open your heart to try to support somebody else, if for nothing else, for the sake of knowing that you will someday need support, and maybe those same people will be the ones to do it for you. And I always say, everybody's related to somebody, and if you're not related to that person today, 400 or 500 years from now, you may be. So try to think about your legacy in regards to that, how other people's interests align with your own. Don't be so self-centered and so caught up in today's categories that you may find yourself in, is to think that your bloodline and the things that matter to you won't expand beyond that category in the future. And to assure your future, just to add more, to assure your future, it would be best to align yourself with as many allies, honest and good natured allies as possible, in my opinion. That's a good way to preserve yourself. Start treating people good. Stop worrying about what you receive because you treat people good. That example should spread. Not enough people practice that. Anyway, that's all I got to say. A lot of rambling. Hope some of that made sense. Hope most of it made sense. But if anything, I just want you guys to know I got support for people that are outside of my position. And I want you to follow me on that one. Support somebody else. Don't watch people get messed up out here and just say, well, society says it's cool, so it's fine. Do something about it. You can. And it starts with the man in the mirror, the woman in the mirror, or the person in the mirror. Let's expand a little bit. This is where we're at here. So yeah, man, that's it. 20 minutes long. Thanks for sitting through that. BDF here. Peace. God bless.